Pretty in Plants, and today I'm going to be talking about 10 rules, the 10 proven secrets. If you do these 10 things, then your plants will do really well in semi-hydro. So rule number 1 is the wet-dry cycle. Okay, so I'm sitting on Leca. Oh my goodness. This is so bad. If you don't know what Leca is, there it is. There's the magic. It'll change your life forever. Hey guys, thank you so much for coming. If you don't know who I am, I'm Rachel with Pretty in Plants, and I am endeavoring to put all of my plants in semi-hydro. I do not have them all in there yet, and I have all different kinds of plants. So everything from beginner plants to advanced to trees in semi-hydro. And so I'm trying to share my tips and tricks with you as I learn them myself. Okay, so number 1, most important thing about semi-hydro is your wet-dry cycle. And the reason I'm doing this video is because of this guy. Ba 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 ba, ba 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 ba. Ooh, see that? There it is, the old yellow leaf. This is the reason I'm doing this video. And so number 1 is the wet-dry cycle. If your plant is wet for too long, like this one was, and this one has been for months, and I don't know why, it didn't like occur to me. If it's sitting in water more than 2 weeks, and it's just water, 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 then you're gonna have a problem. You're gonna get rotten roots, you're gonna get yellow leaves. Now, oddly enough, this plant has probably gotten 20 new leaves since I've gotten it, so it must love the nutrient system, it must love semi-hydro, it must love being misted every day, and it doesn't quite like number 2. So number 1 is wet-dry cycle. Make sure your plants are wet and then they get dry. Number 2 is pot size. This pot size is too big for the roots. And how do I know that? Because it's not drying out fast enough. And I'm gonna give you an example. Ooh, it was a Hoya, and when I took all the dirt off, I had to put the plant in a pot this size. I had to take it, squeeze it, put it down in there because its roots were so tiny that in this size pot, or even 1 size down, or even 2 sizes down, that plant was gonna die. And actually it started to not do well, and I kind of clued in the pot size is still too big. So you want a pot size according to the root system and how big the roots are, not how big the plant is. You might have to stake the plant because its root system is actually kind of small, but make sure the pot size is small enough so that the roots drink the water and then the system dries out. And then in a few weeks or a couple months, as it gets bigger and drinks faster, then you can move it to a different pot. Okay, so that's an extreme, that was an extreme case, but many times I end up putting it in a much smaller pot because the roots are just too small for a big pot. Keep that big pot, it will grow into it because it will love your system. Number 3, if you see a yellow leaf, pour out the water. I didn't do that for this guy. If you see a yellow leaf, pour out the water. A good example of that is, see this little tiny bit of yellowing? At the very beginning, I put this guy, I think I showed y'all this jar. I drilled a hole in it so it would never have too much water. He's kind of dry right now. He's still a little damp. I love seeing the roots though. So I put the ZZ plant in here. When it gets a little yellow, I poured all the water out. Number 4 is gonna be start small. This is a plant I started small with because I wasn't sure about it. Isn't it pretty? It's a peperomia, but I got the 4-inch pot, which was, and I think I ended up just using the same pot for this peperomia as it came in. It had a pretty big root system, so I went ahead and potted it up in there, put in the Leca. I've only had this plant like probably less than a month, and it's doubled in size. So that is such a nice surprise, so fun for me. Not a huge investment initially. They have great big ones of these though, and I don't know if I'm gonna like this plant. Or is get to know the plant in dirt first, if you have the patience. If you have, I have 3 ficus audries. 1 I've put in SemiHydro and we're having a little bit of a struggle. The other 2 I left in dirt, and I make sure I use my water meter. I will link this down below. Any plant you have in dirt, if you want to keep it alive, oh, you need this. Unless you're like some kind of plant god or something, you need one of these. I've seen them as cheap as $4 on Amazon, and you just stick it in the dirt and it tells you if it's moist or not. I don't have any dirt near me, or I'd show. Or after 10 to 14 days, check the roots. Except your pothos. If it's doing well, just don't touch it. By checking the roots, you're gonna pull it out of the leca, make sure they're growing and they're happy, pull off any dead stuff, kind of make sure, you know, that's about the right size root still for that pot. And then if it's doing well, put it back in. I'll talk about all the ins and outs of that on another video. If you're absent-minded like me, number 7 is you're going to buy these pots with the little thing. I'm sorry, but I'm really, again, I'm just not a plant expert. I have 5 children and 2 dogs and a very hungry husband, and so I need all the help I can get. So I get these pots from Easy Grow Hydro. I will link him down below. They're relatively inexpensive and they tell you when it needs water. If it's up on a shelf, or, you know, you have 100 plants and you don't have time to just put your finger in every plant, you'll see the meter thing and you'll see that it's going through its wet dry cycle. It's going down, which is so comforting to me. It means, woo, we're happy and we're growing. Number 8, you first get your leca, make sure you wash it. In case you didn't know and you're new to this, wash your leca first, rinse it, put it through a colander. Mine is know what nutrients you're gonna use. You do have to use a nutrient system. You do have to feed these plants. They're not getting what they need from soil because they no longer have soil. So I had a very involved nutrient system. It was 3 parts. I stopped using that one, and I will link the one I'm using down below. The guy who sells Easy Grow Hydro systems, the little plastic deals, and he's done like 10,000 plants in SemiHydro. He uses this nutrient system, which makes me feel better about it. You don't measure ppms, you don't measure pH. When the nutrient system is a little bit like a science lab, I feel like it's not anymore. It takes the fun out. So anyway, I have my nutrients listed down below that I use, and it's 1 teaspoon per gallon. I would do half a teaspoon per gallon for the winter time, or maybe a 1/4. Like, just take it down in the winter time, and then you do, like starting in February, you wanna up the nutrients back to a teaspoon a gallon, and your plants are gonna love you. They're just going to love you. Number 10, I pray for wisdom, because I don't know everything, and the creator made the plants. I need wisdom, a download from heaven for these plants. And it's funny, I'll pray for wisdom, and then a couple days later, I'll just look up on top of the fridge and I know that plant needs nutrients. Comes to me. So number 10, pray for wisdom, because plants, all of these plants have different personality. I need wisdom to get them in the right place the first time, so I don't have to think about it too much. I just water them once every 2 weeks and boop, we're ready for vacay. So I hope y'all like those top 10 tips. Like, subscribe. Thank you for visiting, and we will see you probably this Friday. Okay, bye-bye. Just put them in that little like bowl, one of those little things. Okay, so real quickly, I repotted it. This is its new pot. And this is the old pot. As you can see, I was way off. And doesn't it already look happier? I mean, it's only been 5 minutes, but that's what I love about repotting semi-hydro things. 5 minutes and you have instant happiness.